Hey guys, the Invincible Iron Man 163 here, again, with a reaction to, what's this movie, what was this called? Yeah, top 20 unintentionally disturbing kids characters from around the world. So, let's go. Oh man, can't imagine what's up for this crap.
Have you ever tuned into your favorite show as a child and was creeped out by one specific character? And one that wasn't even supposed to be creepy. Sometimes even being the host of the show or its main characters.
You have no idea.
Well, you're not alone. Apparently tons of children's shows around the world has had these unintentionally creepy, nightmarish characters.
That's not that bad.
So today, we're going to count down 20 unintentionally disturbing kids characters from around the world. The Boobahs from Boobah.
Boobah.
This show was a British TV program that was produced by Ragdoll Productions.
Hold on to
The Boobahs are 5 gumdrop-shaped creatures with big eyes and lights.
Artist Mama 163, if you're watching this, was this the crab that me and my sister used to watch? Is this what you talking about? Because I can't imagine me watching this. This looks freaking creepy.
For eyebrows. Their heads are shriveled into their necks, and they awkwardly move around and fly with each other. The Boobahs do not speak. Instead, they communicate by making noises like squeaks and cracks.
Sorry, I can't take this
Like other shows on this list, many children, and even some adults, found the Boobahs to be absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, I can see.
There's just something so unsettling about the way they walk and move. And if that weren't enough, their website could use some help too. Distorted music along with weird flash games that won't really entertain anyone who's above the age of 3 seem to make this thing a little more terrifying than anything related to this show should be. The Puppets from The Wiggles. The Wiggles was a musical group that performed on children's television from 1991 till now. While several of the cast members of the original group has either left due to physical health or old age, the original series had some pretty weird ideas about some of the side skits. For example, there was The Puppets, which was based on a popular Alvin and the Chipmunks group and TV show at the time. These horrifying things had their own unique look and style, even if their voices were pitched up in the same manner as the titular rodents. They move in rather stilted, disjointed ways, and have pretty terrible puppetry to go along with it. They always have these big, plastered smiles on their faces, and large beady eyes that seem to stare right past you. Really, this would feel more home on a Chucky's film rather than a children's TV show. Nonetheless, the Wiggles puppets gave kids nightmares throughout all of the 90s.
Yeah, thanks. Now I'm gonna have nightmares.
Fafo, from the island of Dr. Moreau.
Fofo?
Fafo is an alien-born character from a fictional planet called Fafolandia. He came to Earth to form his own band called Balloon Magic with a quartet of children. Since his inception, he's grown to become quite popular amongst Brazilian children, getting to have its own program, dolls, and other licensed products.
Come on, that thing obviously.
However, he's still incredibly creepy, and his features are incredibly bizarre.
Why does this guy look like one of freaking Jabba's guards from Star Wars? He does. Don't tell me he doesn't. He does look like one of freaking Jabba's guards, except with different color and a bad haircut.
most notably his strange cheeks that outgrow and sag over his skin, and his eyes that gave off an almost sinister-looking stare.
Yep, he does.
His nightmarish appearance is completely unintentional, but nightmarish nonetheless.
Go guard for Jabba or something, bro.
Sasuga Minami from Miburi TV. Miburi TV was a morning Japanese TV show involving children dancing, often with the host Sasuga Minami. She's seen in a one-piece jumpsuit that has patches on it saying some pretty vulgar things all in English. And while these two might be confusing to a Japanese audience, the third is well known because of its close translation to the word faku. There really is no reason behind her outfits, and she's even worn it in a number of episodes with little to no backlash.
Dang.
In one confusing episode, the children are seen wearing Nirvana shirts for, again, no real reason. She dances and helps choreograph the children with these inappropriate messages displayed on her shirts. The Flute from HR Puffnstuff.
What?
This bizarre children's show only ran for 2 years, with a total of just 17 episodes. The plot involved an 11-year-old boy named Jimmy, who becomes shipwrecked and lands on a deserted island. Him and his friend, talking flute named Freddy, take a ride on a mysterious boat that leads them to the living island. The boat was being controlled by a wicked witch, who used it to lure Jimmy and Freddy to her castle. The entire show is full of strange human-sized puppets, and Freddy the Flute is the creepiest looking companion ever. He gives off an unsettling face whenever he talks or just appears on camera. But what's just as terrifying as Freddy the Flute is Witchy Poo, the primary antagonist of the series who's after Freddy the Flute. She rides a large rocket-powered broom and is mean to everyone around her, even her henchmen.
I'm pretty hungry.
The Groke from the Moomins. The Groke is a fictional character from the Swedish show The Moomins. She's a tall, ghost-like creature and is known as the biggest threat in Moomin Valley. Cold, creepy, and with a killer stare, everything this character touches freezes. If she stays in one spot for more than 1 hour, the ground dies, and nothing can ever grow there again. In the English dub, she's completely mute. But in the Finland, Poland, France, and Japan dub, her voice is absolutely terrifying.
Looks like a black grimace from McDonald's.
何しに来たんだモラン。ここはお前の来るところではない。そうでないと撃つ。
頭を叩くわよ。この棒で殴るぞ。
The Groke is considered to be one of the most intimidating characters in a children's program. However, she is also considered by others to be one of the most sympathetic and misunderstood villains. Even though she starts out portrayed as an evil and terrifying antagonist, later adaptations depict her as a lonely person who longs for warmth, light, and companionship, but is unable to because of her nature to kill things. She has no control over her appearance and her ability to freeze anything she touches.
She kills wherever she touches. You're great.
Mr. Blobby from Noel's House Party. Noel's House Party was a Saturday night TV show on the BBC, once hailed as the most important show on the BBC by a senior corporation executive. In 2010, Noel's House Party was voted the best Saturday night TV show of all time, according to the Mirror. Despite the positive reception, one of the show's characters was negatively received, and that was Mr. Blobby. Mr. Blobby is an 8-foot, round-shaped pink figure covered in yellow spots. He communicates by saying the word Blobby in a electronically altered voice and expresses mood through the tone of his voice. Mr. Blobby would partake in pranks involving celebrities, where he would act clumsy, childish, to irritate them. Mr. Blobby was criticized for his behavior, at one point causing one little girl to cry after throwing her birthday cake onto the floor, which then caused the father to approach the stage and attack Blobby.
I would have done the same thing. Nobody better mess with my birthday cake.
Mummenschanz from The Muppet Show.
What?
On episode 124, the Mummenschanz made a guest appearance on The Muppet Show. They're an experimental group of dancers formed in Switzerland, made up of performers whose techniques include acting, puppeteering, and other forms of artistry.
Muppets.
They mainly perform in black leotards or other minimal attire, with creative masks while remaining completely silent. They also made an appearance on Sesame Street, where they performed several times. One involving 2 cardboard boxes to demonstrate the idea of being sane and different, and another involving really stretching out each other's masks. These concepts must have been entertaining and even fascinating dogs, but for children, it must have confused and horrified them. These ominous pale white masks with cold, permanent expressions are menacing, coupled with the fact that they are surrounded by beloved Muppets makes them even more disturbing.
Number 12.
The Phone from Telechat.
What?
Telechat is a French television show designed to be a parody of news programs, but for kids. It stars puppets of anthropomorphic animals, who all act and look in very strange ways. Their movements are so sporadic that it gives off just an uncomfortable vibe, and they all look just as weird too. The cat in the suit frequently has a broken arm, and the ostrich wears lipstick and shows cleavage. But strangest of all is the phone with a face. He whispers in the anchorman's ear when he picks.
Come on, no one wants to see any ostrich boobies. At least I don't. I don't know about you watching.
Him up, and almost sounds like he's gasping for air, before completely changing his tone. The show itself doesn't look that bad, and it does have some more frightening moments, like this microphone with an ear attached to it. It has a permanent looking smile stuck on it, and an extremely bothersome voice.
What the frick?
Morso from Morso. There is honestly not that much information about Morso online. All we do know is that he's a character from a Finnish children's show. Some of the only available footage online is what I assume to be a scene from the show featuring a bear character stirring something, and this horrifying, nightmare-inducing, distorted clip of Morso himself. The frightening music only helps solidify Morso as a being of children's fears. And without it, he's still scary looking. Again, there's not much I could find about his character, or even what the show was about, which ironically only adds to the creepiness.
You think?
Carbuncle from Ik Mik Lorland. This Netherlands show was an educational program that ran for 2 seasons in 1994. The series was intended to teach children how to read with a method called learning to read safely. It featured a character named Carbuncle, who induced fear into every Dutch child who watched the show. In fact, the show was criticized heavily because of Carbuncle, who many parents thought was too scary for their children. Some even endured nightmares, according to a loosely translated article. After the first 20 episodes, Carbuncle was made more kid-friendly by transforming him almost entirely human. This was to inspire viewers to continue watching the series and expand on their education. And, despite the criticism, Ik Mik Lorland was a huge success. though many Dutch children still recall the terror that was Carbuncle.
Carbuncle.
Ananas.
I'll remember.
And Telefrancis. Telefrancis was a French children's show that ran from 1984 to 1986.
Okay, I have this 15-minute crap on my channel, so I can't record in 15 minutes. So this is part 1. Part 2 will come maybe later, or tomorrow, or later in the day. I don't know. But I love ya.